We often talk about our dogs giving us unconditional love. But here's the truth. Love comes easily while real trust takes time to earn. Earning your dog's complete trust isn't as simple as handing out a few treats or giving belly rubs. And if your pup has ever suffered through bad experiences with humans in the past, that trust becomes even harder to build. Most owners think their dogs already trust them. But if you miss the subtle signs, you could be wrong, and that means you might never experience the deepest bond your dog is ready to share. In this video, you'll discover 10 powerful signs that reveal when your dog truly trusts you, and the difference could change how you see your furry best friend forever. So let's begin with something simple. An old, chewed-up tennis ball your dog insists on placing right in your lap. Sign number 10. They bring you their toys. That chewed-up tennis ball your dog drops in your lap, it isn't trash. To you, it might look like a slobbery piece of rubber you should have thrown out years ago. But to your dog, it's treasure. Have you ever wondered why they pick up their favorite toy, the one they guard from other dogs, and place it right at your feet? Why they choose you and not anyone else? Science has an answer. In a study published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, researchers found that oxytocin, the same bonding hormone that connects parents with children, drives dogs to share. And here's the key. Dogs are far more likely to share with someone they trust than with a stranger. So when your dog brings you that tattered ball or bone, they're saying more than "play with me." They're saying, "I trust you enough to share what's mine." Now think about this. How many people in your life would hand you their most prized possession without hesitation? Not many. Yet your dog does it without a second thought. For a widower watching TV alone when that old pup lays a toy on his boot, it isn't about the game, it's about connection. In that quiet exchange, your dog is reminding you that you are not alone, that you matter more than anyone else in their world. A gift from your dog is proof you're their chosen pack. And once you see it that way, you'll never look at a slobbery tennis ball the same again. But toys are just the beginning. At night, when the world goes dark and the house falls silent, your dog makes another choice, a choice about where to sleep. And that choice reveals even more about the bond you share. Sign number 9. They sleep in your room. Dogs never pick a sleeping spot by accident. Have you noticed where yours chooses to rest when the lights go out? Maybe it's curled at your feet, maybe stretched across the floor by your side, maybe even pressed against the door, as if standing guard. It might look like a habit, but it's something much deeper. In the wild, wolves and wild dogs sleep close together, shoulder to shoulder, because it's the safest place to be. They only let trusted pack members share that space. Isn't it the same with you? When your dog settles in your room every night, what they're really saying is, "I trust you to keep me safe. And I'll keep you safe too." Can you imagine the comfort in that? Knowing your dog sees you as part of their pack. Think about your own nights. Maybe you've come home from a long shift or a long drive across empty highways. Maybe the house feels too quiet, too big, too empty. And then you hear the familiar padding of paws behind you, your dog settling down in the same spot again, like clockwork. Doesn't that small sound break the silence, reminding you you're not facing the night alone? Scientists have found that dogs choose their sleeping places based on safety and trust, just like their ancestors did. They don't lie down next to just anyone. So when your dog chooses your room night after night, it's not about warmth or comfort, it's about loyalty. They've decided that their safest place in the world is next to you. When your dog guards your sleep, it's their way of saying, "You are my family." And that bond goes even further. Because sometimes trust isn't about where they rest their body. It's about where they rest their eyes. And when your dog dares to look straight into yours, that's when you'll see the truest sign of all. Sign number 8. They look into your eyes. In the animal world, eye contact is dangerous. A long stare between two dogs usually means a fight is about to start. So why does your dog dare to look straight into your eyes and hold it? Why would they choose to do something that in nature could cost them their safety? The answer is simple. They trust you enough to break the rules of their own species. Science has proven this. Researchers found that when a dog gazes into their owner's eyes, both the human and the dog release oxytocin, the same hormone that bonds a mother to her child. In fact, your levels of oxytocin can jump by more than 300% when you and your dog share that look. Can you feel it? That calm, steady warmth when your dog's eyes meet yours? That's chemistry, not chance. Think about the nights when the silence in your home feels heavier than usual. Maybe you're sitting alone, the weight of old memories pressing down, and then your dog climbs onto the couch and locks eyes with you. No words, no explanations, just that steady gaze. Doesn't it feel like they know something you haven't said out loud? Like they can see the pain you're carrying? For a veteran fighting restless nights? Or a man who's lost the love of his life? That gaze can feel like the one anchor keeping them from drifting too far. And here's the truth. Your dog isn't just looking at you. They're searching for reassurance, for connection, for proof that the bond you share is unbreakable. And every time you meet their eyes with gentleness instead of fear, you give them exactly what they need. That gaze is a silent promise, I trust you with my life. And once you recognize it for what it is, you'll never brush it off as simple eye contact again. But trust isn't only built on looks, it shows in the way your dog responds when you speak, when your voice cuts through the noise of the world. And that's where the next sign begins. Sign number 7. They listen to you. Training a dog isn't really about commands, it's about trust. Have you noticed how some dogs snap to attention at the sound of their owner's voice, while others pretend they don't hear a word? Why the difference? It isn't obedience out of fear that matters. A dog that listens because they're scared doesn't truly trust. But a dog that listens because they respect you, that's where the bond is real. Think about your own dog. Maybe you've said their name in the middle of a noisy yard, and somehow through all that chaos their ears still perked up. Maybe you whispered, "Come here," and they trotted over tail wagging, not because they had to, but because they wanted to. Doesn't that say more about your relationship than any trick or command ever could? For many rescue dogs listening, doesn't come easy. They've seen the worst of people: abandonment, punishment, neglect. If you've ever adopted a dog like that, you know it can take months before they respond to your voice. And when it finally happens, that first time, they sit when you ask or stay by your side. When you call, it feels less like obedience and more like a breakthrough. That's the moment you realize they've chosen to trust you. Science backs this up too. Behaviorists agree that positive trust-based training leads to stronger bonds and lasting results compared to punishment or fear. It's the difference between a dog obeying to avoid pain and a dog listening to share respect. Which one would you rather have? So when your dog listens to you, it isn't about control. It's about connection. Every ear twitch, every tail wag, every quick response to your voice is their way of saying, I know you, I trust you, I want to follow your lead. And that's a kind of loyalty no command can ever force. But the real test of trust doesn't just happen when you're home together. It shows up the moment you walk out the door. What your dog does when you leave says more than words ever could. Sign number 6. They don't panic when you leave. Have you ever closed the door behind you and wondered what happens when you're gone? Some dogs cry, scratch, and whine, as if the world has ended. But others wait quietly, tails still, eyes calm, as if they know you'll be back. Which one is your dog? And more importantly, what does it say about the trust between you? Dogs that panic when left alone often fear abandonment. They're not sure if you'll return. That fear can come from past trauma, from being left too many times with no one to come back for them. But a dog that stays calm when you leave isn't careless. It's confident. They've learned that every time you walk out that door, you always return. Isn't that a powerful kind of trust? Imagine this. You're retired now, maybe you only leave the house for groceries or a doctor's visit. You step out, lock the door, and your dog doesn't cry or claw at the floor. Instead, they curl up in their spot, patient waiting, because they believe in you. And when you come home, who's the first to greet you at the door? Doesn't it feel good knowing they never doubted you for a second? Science even shows this difference. Dogs with higher levels of oxytocin, yes, that same bonding hormone, tend to show a positive outlook, what researchers call a cognitive bias. In plain words, they assume good things will happen. They expect you'll return. They wait in faith, not in fear. And that's the mark of true trust. So when your dog doesn't panic as you leave, don't mistake it for indifference. It's proof they're secure in your bond, sure of your return, steady in their faith in you. That kind of quiet confidence is rare, even among people. But your dog shows it without words every single day. And when you step back inside, the story isn't over. Because the way your dog carries themselves in your presence, their body language, their calm, their comfort reveals another level of trust you might have missed. Sign number 5. They relax around you. Have you noticed how your dog looks when they're truly at ease? The jaw loose, the tail wagging slow and easy, the eyes blinking soft and steady. That kind of calm doesn't happen everywhere. It only happens in places and with people they feel completely safe. So ask yourself, does your dog melt into the couch beside you, stretch out across the floor with their belly showing, or sigh deeply as they rest their head on your leg? Isn't that a kind of peace you don't see often in this world? Science tells us that when you pet your dog, both of you release oxytocin, the bonding hormone, and your stress hormone cortisol drops. That means the simple act of your dog relaxing in your presence isn't just comfort for them, it's healing for you too. Can you remember the last time you sat down after a hard day, feeling worn out, and your dog just leaned against you? Didn't that quiet moment feel like someone was telling you without words that you were safe too? For a man who's lost so much, maybe even the love of his life, these little moments with a dog carry the weight of survival. Your dog doesn't just trust you. They teach you how to breathe again, how to rest when the world feels heavy. Their calm body language is more than a signal. It's a gift. So when you see that loose tail, that steady blink, that content sigh, know what it really means. Your dog trusts you enough to drop their guard. They believe you'll keep the world at bay while they close their eyes. Isn't that the highest form of respect? And that trust doesn't stop when they're lying still. It follows you out the door, down the street, into the world. Because when things get uncertain, your dog won't just relax, they'll look to you for guidance. And that's where the next sign comes alive. Sign number 4. They follow your lead. Have you ever been out walking and noticed how often your dog glances back at you? They might be sniffing the grass, chasing a squirrel, or even playing with another dog, but every so often they turn their head just to check where you are. Why do they do that? It isn't habit, it's instinct. They want to know you're still there. They want to be sure they're safe because you're the one they've chosen to guide them. Researchers call this the secure base effect. Just like children look to their parents in unfamiliar situations, dogs look to their owners. And isn't that something? You may not think of yourself as anyone's anchor anymore. Maybe the kids are grown, maybe the house is too quiet, maybe you've felt invisible since the day you lost someone close. But to your dog, you're still the steady presence they can't live without. Every time they glance back, they're asking, "Are you with me? Am I okay?" And the way you answer sometimes with nothing more than a nod, a whistle, or just your presence shapes their world. Think about it. Doesn't it feel powerful to know that in a world full of noise and strangers, you're the one your dog trusts enough to follow? For a veteran standing at the edge of a crowded park, for a widower who doesn't like big gatherings anymore, the sight of a dog circling back, making sure you're still there, is more than loyalty. It's reassurance. It's proof you still matter. Every look back is a question. Am I safe with you? And every time you show up, your dog learns that the answer is yes. That's why they keep following, keep checking, keep choosing you as their guide. But sometimes their answer doesn't come with a look at all. Sometimes it comes with something simpler, something you can feel, a paw resting gently on your knee, as if to say, "I'm here with you too." Sign number 3. They put their paw on you. Have you ever been sitting quietly at the table, maybe with a cup of coffee, and suddenly feel a paw rest gently on your knee? It's such a small thing, but it stops you in your tracks, doesn't it? Why would your dog reach out like that? They can't shake your hand. They can't say the words you sometimes wish someone else could say. So instead, they place that paw on you. Could it be their way of telling you, "I see you, I choose you"? For many people, especially when the house feels too empty, that single touch can mean more than 1,000 words. Think about the times you felt unseen, or the nights when grief pressed down harder than usual. Didn't that paw remind you you weren't completely alone? Your dog doesn't care about the medals you earned, the miles you drove, or the losses you've endured. They care about you, right here, right now. Dogs use touch to connect. Just as you might reach out to hold someone's hand, your dog reaches out to hold on to you. And every time they do it, they're showing trust. They're saying, "You're mine and I'm yours." Doesn't that simple gesture carry more weight the older you get? When genuine connection is so rare, that paw is their promise, plain and simple. But devotion doesn't end with a touch. Because if you pay attention, you'll notice something else. Your dog doesn't just rest a paw on you. They shadow your every step, as if making sure you're still there, still safe, still alive. Sign number 2. They check on you. Constantly, have you ever noticed how your dog always seems to know where you are? You move from the chair to the kitchen, and there they are padding right behind you. You head down the hallway, even into the bathroom, and they wait outside the door. Why do they do that? Do they think you might disappear? Or is it something deeper? Something about love and loyalty that words can't quite capture. For a man living alone, those little footsteps in the background can be the only sound that breaks the silence. Isn't it comforting knowing that no matter how invisible you might feel to the rest of the world, to your dog, you're the center of everything? They're not following you because they're needy. They're following you because they've made you their world. Think about the times you've sat in front of the TV, wondering if anyone really notices you anymore. Then, without fanfare, your dog appears lying down just close enough to let you know they're watching. Isn't that a kind of devotion people rarely give each other these days? Your dog checks on you because they love you. But more than that, they trust you. They want to be sure you're okay, because your well-being is tied to theirs. Every glance into the room, every pause at the doorway, is a quiet promise I've got your back. Checking on you constantly isn't a nuisance, it's proof that you're their family, their anchor, their one person. And if you've ever wondered whether your dog truly trusts you, this is one of the clearest answers you'll ever get. But there's one sign that goes even further. One sign that strips away all doubt, because it leaves your dog at their most vulnerable. And that's when they roll over and show you their belly. Sign number 1. They show you their belly. In the wild, no dog would ever roll onto their back and expose their belly. That's the softest part of their body, where all the vital organs are. Out there, to roll over is to surrender. So why does your dog do it right in front of you? Why would they give up their one defense and leave themselves so vulnerable? There's only one reason they trust you more than anyone else. Think about the first time you noticed it. Maybe you walked into the living room after a long day, and there they were flopped over on the rug paws in the air tail thumping against the floor. Didn't you laugh a little? Maybe you bent down to rub that belly, and in that moment you realized something your dog was telling you without a single word. I feel safe with you. Isn't that the kind of trust most people never give so freely? For someone who's been through loss, who's carried grief longer than they ever expected, that simple act of a dog showing their belly can mean more than 100 empty words from anyone else. Your dog doesn't need to pretend. They don't need to hide. Around you, they can let their guard down completely. And if you think about it, when was the last time you felt safe enough to let your guard down with another person? Science backs this up too. Animal behaviorists agree that when a dog exposes their belly or turns their back, they're signaling total vulnerability, the highest level of trust. They're saying, I don't believe you'll hurt me. I believe you'll protect me. Isn't that the kind of faith that can heal even the deepest loneliness? So, when your dog rolls over and shows you their belly, don't brush it off as a silly pose. See it for what it really is, a declaration of trust, a gift that says you are their safe place, their one constant in a world full of change. From toys to eyes to bellies, every sign points to the same truth. Your dog doesn't just love you, they trust you with everything they are. And that trust is something you can never take for granted. So now you've seen it, 10 signs that prove your dog doesn't just love you, they trust you with their whole life. From the toys they lay at your feet, to the steady gaze that holds you together on lonely nights, from the way they rest easy by your side, to the moment they roll over and show you their belly. Each one is a piece of the same truth to your dog: you are home. Think about that for a second. How many people in your life have trusted you that completely? How many times have you felt invisible, forgotten, left behind? Only to have your dog remind you that to them, you're everything. Isn't that a kind of loyalty most of us spend our whole lives searching for? Your dog may not speak in words, but they write, I love you in every action, every glance, every quiet step behind you, in the hallway. And maybe that's what you've needed all along, not words, not explanations, just proof that someone still needs you. Doesn't it feel good to know that in a world that can take so much away, your dog still gives you their trust freely every single day? That's why having a dog's trust isn't something to take lightly. It's a responsibility. They'll look to you when the world feels unsafe. They'll lean on you when you feel like no one else is there. And they'll guard your sleep, your silence, even your grief. So the next time you see your dog stretch out by your chair or press a paw onto your knee, remember what it really means. It means you're not alone. Not tonight. Not ever, as long as they're with you. So let me ask you, have you seen these signs in your dog? Do they check on you, sleep at your feet, gaze into your eyes? If they do, I'd love to hear your story. Share it in the comments, because somewhere out there, another man sitting in a quiet house might need to hear that he's not the only one. And if this video helped you see your dog in a new way, stay with us. There's so much more about these companions we've yet to uncover.